This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store Forged Irish Stout. Delighted to be joined with Adam Smith. It's not been too long, but it's been a while. How are things? How have you been?
I've been good and just sort of recovering from the GBM Sheffield show, which was fantastic last Saturday, and then commentating on Haney Garcia as well, a massive night. But I wasn't lucky enough to be out there like you. It sounded an amazing atmosphere, and what a night, what a fight.
Absolutely, it was incredible, and I suppose we'll firstly touch on that. Obviously, you had the GBM show in Rotherham. Then I'm from right in saying, jet down to London straight away to commentate up on Talk Sport. So a serious shift from you on Saturday night.
It was a crazy story. So we went on air at about 5:30, I think, for TalkSport YouTube in Sheffield. We finished at 12:30, so 7 hours of commentating. Spencer Oliver and I jumped in a car. The car was meant to be ETA TalkSport Towers at 4:10. We were on air at 4. The guy put his foot down, got us there at 4:45. We got in, literally sat at the desk, commentated then through the night on the McComb fight and then the Haney Garcia fight, and in the middle of the 11th round the feed went pop, so we lost the BT feed. So there was a bit of a difficult one trying to commentate on pictures we couldn't see them. But what a great fight. We had a fantastic night in Sheffield, stacked with action, really good. Kieran Malloy, Tin and Bradley, Nicola and Gemma's fight, Hughie Fury back, Shaq Thompson, and then coming down for the big one in New York. So fantastic night on Saturday, a long one, but we've done these sort of things before, and it was great to do another one, a double header.
Absolutely, it's all fun. I suppose we'll firstly touch on the card on Saturday night. The return, as you said, their return of Hughie Fury, the Irish duo. I keep saying to Izzy of Tin and Bradley and Kieran Malloy. I think Kieran's probably in a tougher fight than he may have expected. But obviously, Izzy was saying, he's watching that fight as a fan, and I'm sure you sort of felt the same, where the matchmaking's so good and it's exciting fights.
Well, that's great. You've got to take your hat off to Al Siesta and Steve Lillis. They do a fantastic job because, of course, you've got home fighters, away fighters, you're building prospects, but sometimes, there are those wins, those upsets, and I mean, we had it in New York with Garcia and Haney, but it was brilliant the fact that you had so many on the night that could have gone either way, and some ended stunningly by knockout, and some of those fighters that you thought, wow, they're not going to get through this. Kieran Malloy, I think one of the greatest prospects around at the moment, and he was having a really good 4 or 5 rounds. Suddenly he got a little tired, body shot, bang, he's down. He's got to find a way back, show guts and courage. He really impressed Izzy, tick on the old bottle department. Kieran had a good win in the end of it, but really, really hard one. Tin and Bradley looked in complete control, couldn't quite get the job done within the distance. And then you've got Sir Nicola and Gemma, and it could have gone either way. And those sort of fights are fantastic. And that's what they need, I think, for the education, to go in with different styles and to have these Mexicans that are coming in and they are giving it everything. They're coming to win. A lot of them have got winning records, so it's not just another knockover job. And that's, I think, what I love about GBM. It's that you're going to get, as a fan, and we're all fans, you're going to get fights where you don't know what's going to happen, or the way it's going to happen, or the manner of victory, and it's the unpredictability of it. So we have plenty of that on Saturday, and we're going to get a lot more May 24th when we come to London for the first time.
Absolutely. I suppose we'll touch on that May 24th. Kaisee Benjamin, Lucas Ballingall, both, I suppose, natural 140 pounders, but moving up to 147, which they feel like they're going to be better at. Tyson Gallagher against Stevie Levy, another big fight, and obviously Razor Ali, Neraldo, your man, he's on the card, Tommy Welch. A stacked card throughout the bill, and the London debut, I guess.
Yes, really good. I mean, from start to finish. Michael King's back on it after impressing us in Sheffield. You got Jack Daly, great story, him, and it's fantastic. It's the women's fight's brilliant. Really like that. Gallagher and Levy, really, really good. 50-50. Also, as you say, Kaisee Benjamin as well. I think there's some really good fights. The 2 9-0s together, Razor and Lennox. And thank you for mentioning my guy from Summit, Neraldo. I mean, he is an infectious character, as you know. Big puncher, 14-0 with 11 knockouts, so he returns on the Your Call card as well. So it's a brilliant night again, and I think that Izzy wanted to take it up and down the country. He wanted to make a big splash in London. That's what it's going to be on Friday the 24th of May, and he wanted to go to Your Call because you can't really do a London show for the first time without going to the home of British boxing. We talked about other venues, but we were sort of drawn back to the history and the legacy and the fact that every fighter wants to be part of the York Hall. I don't know how many 100 years it's been, I don't know how many years it's been going, but they want to be part of that. They've seen the great fighters come through. Everyone sort of trod the boards at York Hall, being part of it. So that's a really big thing in this. There's opportunities all around, unbeaten fighters going in with each other, pick 'em ones again, young prospects, different stories, characters. I love it.
Absolutely, and I suppose I did want to touch on Neraldo like a little bit more in depth because you are more involved with him. You know, he's a big puncher. He's got the Albanian support. We know how much they get on the likes of Florian Marku and that. What is the vision with someone like Neraldo, who has that support and has so much potential that he does have?
The vision is to become a world champion, and he's got an unbelievable backstory which we're going to be telling more and more as we develop him through Summit. He's one of Summit's babies, he's one of our first, and we can't wait. We're really excited about him. The first time I met him, we went for some lunch, and honestly I was with him for a few hours, and he's one of these charismatic, infectious fellas to be around. His story, his tale from Albania, the tough surroundings he came from, he had to fight his way through. He's got unbelievable mental strength. He just believes in himself. He's had it tough when he's been here, but he's got a nice team around him, a good training team, a great setup, and he's ready to go. He's got that Albanian support. He's proud to be fighting in Britain. He's got the knockout power and ability. He's got that international youth belt he picked up, and he's only going one way, and that's towards fighting for a world title within the next, 18 months or so. But he's really exciting, and you're going to be impressed with him at York Hall.
And when it comes to, I suppose, the vision of GBM as a whole, just going back to that, them going outside of Sheffield, outside of Yorkshire, we see them in Coventry, but at the level that they're at and promoting sort of all around the UK shows how serious they are and how much they want to make a statement that we don't want to just be big Sheffield promoters or big Yorkshire promoters. We want to be big promoters. When you go to the northwest, northeast, southeast, go to Ireland, they're going to make a statement anywhere.
That's why I've joined them. When I first knew about Izzy, they were local shows, and he wanted me to come up and see them. And when I went to the first Sheffield one, I was pretty blown away by it, to be honest. From the beginning to the end, it was packed full of everything we've been talking about: characters, prospects, 50-50s, all sorts, and everyone was raving about it at the end. They stayed from start to finish. They loved it. So I thought, look, I want to be part of this. I want to be involved in this. And Izzy said, this is only the beginning. We're going around the country. We're going to do London. We're going to do the Midlands. We're going to go over to Ireland. We're going to do it all, and we're going to keep the momentum going at a real pace. And I thought, let's jump on board. Right? It's a really exciting thing. Matchroom, Queensbury, Wasserman, they're all established. Boxer, of course, with Sky, established. It's quite fun to be on part of this journey, right? Let's see how far it goes. I can't wait. Izzy's a great guy. He's brilliant to be around. You just sort of, I work off him. I love it. I love his team, a fantastic team, great setting. We had a terrific week. Last time I had my first full fight week with them. Really enjoyed being around the entire staff, the entire stable. And young fighters are coming on at quite a pace. They want to be part of the story. They think GBM are going from strength to strength. We've got TalkSport, YouTube behind us as well. And look, we're fighting almost every month, and it's just great to be. And I think, look, GBM are going to be a major part of British boxing. We already are, but I think it's going to be, yes, Queensbury and Frank and everybody and Eddie, they've got their own. Ben has got loads of shows going on as well. It's a great time in Saudi, it's a great time in Britain. But GBM have got a lot of good young hopefuls signed up and more to come. So, look, it's exciting times, and I want to try and help in any way I can with the knowledge I've picked up over the years to try and sort of help Izzy and Al and Steve Lillis and Mitch and the team go from strength to strength. It's a great story. Izzy was a fighter. Now he wants to be the best promoter. He sat at ringside thinking, I can do this, and now he's doing it. Terrific.
For sure, and I suppose when you look at British boxing as a whole, we see how great things are in Saudi Arabia, but you look at big domestic fights that have been announced here, Taylor Catterall 2, obviously we recently had another big stadium fight in Selhurst Park with Chris Billam-Smith and Richard Riakporhe, seeing that again after, I suppose, 5 years, I believe, since their first fight. So I'm sure you're sort of both excited for them fights and seeing sort of how the big fights are still staying domestic as well.
I was saying to Spencer Oliver, we've been around this sport a long time, back to the days of the Eubanks and Benns and Lewis and Tyson and Holyfield, and some fantastic eras, and very difficult to compare. But the way boxing is at the moment, what Turkey and Dr. Akan have done is phenomenal in Saudi. We've got the huge fights, the Undisputed happening in a few weeks' time. You've got the 5v5, but also Bivol and Beterbiev, which is one of the great fights that's been made in recent times. Then you got the big announcement from America with Terence Crawford, and one of the most incredible cards I've seen come out. Talk of it happening in Britain as well in September with the Riyadh season. But not only that, you've got great nights in Britain happening, which is fantastic. As you say, Taylor Catchell, we had Dalton Smith the other night, the GBM shows. We've got Boxers Fight in Cardiff in a couple of weeks. Lauren Price goes for World Title Glory. Riakpur, Bill Smith at Selhurst Park. It's fantastic. It's great for British boxing. It's great for global boxing. Fighters are earning a lot of money, which is terrific. Great, that's the most important thing. Fans have got all this choice. Charlie Edwards, Channel 5. You've got TNT. I'm up tomorrow with Hannah Rankin on a Box Nation show. I know Frank Smith's up there with Matchroom for an X-Gen. So everybody's earning, everybody's doing well. I think it's one of the best times I remember for boxing, because you're getting the biggest and best fights in Saudi. You're getting great shows in Britain and in America. You had that fantastic Garcia-Haney fight. I see Tiernan Bradley out the corner of my eye. This is great times for boxing.
Absolutely. I suppose I did want to sort of just touch on Bivol Beterbiev there, which, you know, you have the big puncher against sort of the slicker boxer, but also, you know, Beterbiev can box as well. Do you think that is the most well-matched fight that could be made in boxing at the moment?
Yes, probably. Absolutely fantastic fight. When it was announced, and I sort of go, when a fight's announced, what's your hunch with? I had no clue. No clue. And that's what you want as a fight fan. You want no clue. Way, way, way down in the levels, but Razor and Lennox on this card, no clue. Right? That's what you want. I don't want to go to a fight necessarily when I know, as a fan, if I'm a spectator, going there thinking the guy on the left's going to beat the guy on the right, you know, red corner and blue corner, whatever. This one, no idea. Fury Usyk, no idea. That's what we want. 5v5, no real idea. That's what we need, and Bivol and Beterbiev is one of those. And you sort of wake up one morning and you think one thing. I'm sort of slightly leaning towards Bivol for some reason, but I don't really know why. When Beterbiev did what he did against Callum Smith, and he's not just an aggressor but a wonderful boxer too. Who knows? I don't know what you think, but I bet you can't give me an answer.
I have a slight guy who I've always favoured towards, but you know, it's one of them ones where I say it to my mates, like, this is just such an incredible fight, isn't it?
It is an incredible fight, and not only that, but it tops a really entertaining idea with this 5v5, always coming up with something different. I love the fact that the golden ball in snooker has suddenly come in. You know, everything's a bit different. You've got to change with the times. We've still got the World Championships at the Crucible. You've still got that traditional thing. We're still going to York or Bethnal Green for some of the boxing, but you've got to shake things up, change with the times. We had that with KSI and Logan Paul and everything with the YouTubers, but I love the fact that they're doing this 5v5, different point system, captains. Who could have predicted Deontay Wilder would even be talking to Eddie Hearn, let alone being captain of Matchroom? It's crazy times, unpredictable as this sport is, but I think it's great times, I really do.
Absolutely. I suppose just a final one from myself. You did briefly mention there about the America card. Terence Crawford moves up to 154 pounds to take on Israel Madrimov, and that is one fight of just, you know, Andy Ruiz and Jarrell Miller. That's incredible. I think one fight that is amazing for me would be Tim Tszyu against Virgil Ortiz. I'm sure you remember, you know, Costa Tszyu when he was fighting a little bit before my time. But
Ortiz is one of my favourite fighters in boxing. I love Virgil Ortiz, and now he's fighting Tim Tszyu, right? Son of the legend, Costa Tszyu, one of the great fighters that I covered for so many years, and obviously fought Ricky, and that's where it turned around for him. A great fight on a card. I love Andy Ruiz. He's got a super fight with Jarrell Miller. Eddie said it's one of the great cards. I think maybe he said it's the best card that's happened in America. It's phenomenal. It's wonderful. It's great. That's August. That's meant to be our holiday time, no? Are we going to get a break?
Well, I hope not for boxing's sake. But Adam, thank you for taking time to speak to me. Really, really good to catch up with you, and hopefully be catching just before May 24th of a big GBM show in London, mate. Top man, thank you.